Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to Daily's 2A News. Today we're going to talk about the recent church shooting in Texas and how gun control activists are responding. Now, I'm sure by now you've all seen the news coverage about the recent Texas church shooting, which was a tragedy. I mean, regardless of how it played out, 2 innocent people still lost their lives because somebody decided to go into a church, actually take communion, and then start shooting afterwards. Now, if it wasn't from the action of the CCW holders, these are just regular, everyday parishioners with CCWs and carrying at the time, and the incredible marksmanship of the guard that was on duty, whose name is Jack Wilson, this could have been a whole nother story that we'd be talking about today. Now, most people want to call Jack Wilson and the other people who were carrying that day and got involved heroes, and I would 100% agree with that. I think anybody who stands up in the face of evil and puts their own life at risk to protect the lives of others is 100% a hero. To me, that's the definition of a hero, and that's exactly what happened that day. You know, if you look at the video, which obviously I can't show here on YouTube, but if you look at the video, you'll see that most people didn't even move. The parishioners were frozen solid. You know, it was a very scary moment, and from the first shot to the last shot, most people that did move just ducked, maybe hoping something wouldn't come their way. It was the CCW holders, and it was the people who were trained that responded immediately. Instead of ducking, instead of moving, or instead of freezing, they stood up, they drew, they confronted the threat, and they ended the threat. That's what training does. That's what armed citizens do. That's what heroes do. And I got to be honest, it was one of those things where it's hard to watch because you know people lose their lives, but you're watching exactly what we've been trying to explain to the left happen this whole time. You know, we've been trying to tell them, look, you guys keep saying, not one more, not one more, not one more. We agree with you 100% on that. We agree not one more. But if you don't want one more, you got to give us a way to stop that person who wants to take 10 or 20 more. Now, we all know the anti-gunners argument. They say not one more. They want to feel safe. There shouldn't be any guns in public. And, you know, they always say the same things. It seems like when they speak, the thing that they care about the most is life. Life is the most important thing in the world to them, and they want to try and preserve life. But when life is preserved by an action that goes against what they've been saying, then life doesn't seem to matter anymore to them. And I've noticed that in specific tweets that have been coming out lately. It's not that life was saved here. They could care less. It seems like they could care less. It seems like what they care more about is that this might injure their agenda. If it injures their agenda, then I guess life doesn't matter. And so I want to read you guys a couple tweets from a couple different people that have put these things out that just, it shows you the real thought process, the real mindset of the anti-gunners. It's not about saving lives. It's about taking away firearms, plain and simple. That's it. They just want to take guns away. They don't care about anybody's lives being saved, because if they did, this would be a win for everybody, instead of just a win for pro-Second Amendment people who see the benefits of an armed public. If you see the benefits of an armed public, then obviously you see exactly what happened here. Lives were saved. The potential to have this be such a worse situation is definitely there, and it wasn't. You know, unfortunately, like I said, it's still a tragedy because 2 people lost their lives, but, you know, it could have been 10, it could have been 15 or 20. You just don't know. But thankfully, these people stood up and they stopped it. So let me go ahead and read you some tweets here. The first one's going to be from good old Shannon Watts, Moms Demand Action, who wrote, "Media reporting that one armed security guard killed the white settlement gunman. Armed parishioners and security teams in places of worship aren't freedom. They're the cost of allowing gun lobbyists to write our gun laws." No mention there of lives were saved. I mean, all she says is armed parishioners and security teams in places of worship aren't freedom. They're the cost of gun lobbyists writing our laws. What the hell is that all about? That's cost? I bet you all the people who had their lives saved the other day are pretty happy with the cost. Okay, the cost of having armed people there meant lives were saved. That's the actual cost. So when Shannon Watts sees something like this happen, she knows that it's time to go for damage control because it goes against her agenda. And so her damage control is to simply say that you're not free. That wasn't freedom that you experienced. You know, having armed people stand up and confront evil wasn't freedom. It was, you know, something negative to her, which is mind-blowing to me. I don't understand how that could be something that's negative. The next one is from Chantel D. Bugs, PhD, who writes, okay, the shooting happened at a place called White Settlement in Texas. She said, "White Settlement is not only still a city name in 2019, it's also an 80+% white suburb. I'm also disturbed that the shooter was killed not by police, but by churchgoers, which means they had their guns on their person while in church. She's more concerned that there were people in that church that were armed than that this evil person was there with a gun and was taken down. How disturbing is that? So she starts off with the whole racist thing, bringing up the fact that it's 80% white and that in 2019 you could still have a place that's named that. She starts off with the race card, but then she finishes it off by saying that it seems wrong to her that there were parishioners that were armed in church. How dare they? Now, I've actually seen tweets from anti-gunners who are physically upset. They're upset that a civilian stopped a mass shooting. You know, they say things like amosexuals are now going to have an argument for their pro-gun agenda, you know, and reasons not to disarm. And people are just openly upset that somebody who was not part of the government ended up saving their own lives. I mean, you know how it goes. First responder is you. You know, the first responder isn't somebody who shows up after the fact to respond. The first responder is the person who responds at the time something happens. And they're upset that that first responder was a civilian. And so they're letting their true colors be shown right now. They're showing you that they don't care about safety. They don't care about how lives are saved. They just don't want you to be armed, period. That's all it's about. It's not about saving lives. It's not about any of that. It's just about taking away your firearms. And all of these tweets and all these social media posts that we're seeing now from these anti-gunners are proving that. Let me go ahead and read a post to you, and I'll put it on the screen as well. But I'm going to read a post to you from the person who actually took the gunman down. Again, his name is Jack Wilson. So let me go ahead and read this for you here. I just want to thank all of you who sent their prayers and comments on the events today. The events of West Freeway Church of Christ put me in a position that I hope no one would have to be in. But evil exists, and I had to take out an active shooter in church. I'm thankful to God that I have been blessed with the ability and desire to serve Him in the role of head security at a church. I am very sad in the loss of our two dear friends and brothers in Christ, but evil does exist in this world, and I and other members are not going to allow evil to succeed. Please pray for all the members and their families in this time. Thank you for your prayers and understanding. There it is right there. I mean, you know, he's serving the people of his church. He's keeping them safe. He kept many people potentially alive. And that, again, is a hero. And anybody out there, pro-gun or anti-gun, that sees this otherwise is wrong. Just straight up wrong. So, again, I know you guys have all seen the news coverage on this one, but I just wanted to bring this other angle that, you know, the left and the anti-gunners don't see it in the way that common sense, I guess, in the common sense way that they should. They love to use that term common sense too. But if they had any common sense at all, they would see that heroes stopped a mass shooting. And that is the bottom line in the end of the story. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and you guys have a great day. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so that YouTube lets you know when these videos come out.